Hello again, my beautiful friends. And for those of you that aren't that beautiful, no, I'm just kidding. You're beautiful on the inside. Hey, it's good to talk to you again. I'm glad to bring you another episode of the Bridging Divides podcast. I have my guest here today, Matt Haban. He has a company, REI Junk Removal. He's the junk man. You're not a junk person. You're junk man, junk
I'm
person.
the junk guy.
You're the junk guy? No, you're not a junk guy.
I'm not a junkie.
Junk.
I am a junk guy.
Hey, there you go. Matt Haban is a friend of mine. We, again, met through networking, where I've met a lot of my friends, which is pretty awesome. But I'm super excited to bring Matt to you guys today. We've had several discussions just kind of outside of our networking meetings. We're really connected, talked about just different principles that we live by, and so I'm really excited to bring you this interview today. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Grateful for the opportunity.
I'm glad to hear you're not a junkie either. That's good news. Well, so hey, let's dive right in, man. So just to give us a little bit of history, kind of on your company. So what's the, I guess, in a nutshell, so people can know if they want to use your services, kind of what do you have to offer?
So what we do is we're exactly that. We remove junk. So residential, commercial, all sorts of stuff. We from furniture, appliances. We do full house cleanouts. We rent out trailers. We move around dirt, concrete. We have a little mini skid that we use for that. But and then we also do demolition. That's something that we're just getting into with some of the contractors that we're working with.
Yeah, awesome, dude. Yeah. Well, hey, there you go. So how long have you been doing this? How long have you had the company for?
Fairly new. It's under a year.
Okay.
I started really just, it was kind of a need. I have a different business and in real estate, and that shifted last year.
Yeah.
And we got caught with a few flips on the market. Some we lost, some we broke even, and we kind of just needed to do something different. And so I did all of my own demolition for our flips.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I've got a trailer. I can throw stuff in trailers. Let's start a junk removal business. And so started it in February of last year. So we're just about at a year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and that brings up a point that I think is really important, which is like the ability to pivot.
Right.
Right. It's because you've been doing. I mean, you're entrepreneur at heart.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you mentioned flipping. Have there been any other kind of things that you've tried?
Mainly, yes. I've tried e-commerce.
Okay.
And
that's one that I'm still I want to crack the code because it seems interesting.
Tell me if you crack it, because that was one business where we invested a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it was great for a very short period of time. And then just crashed and burned. And that was like one of our learning, from just learning how to partner with people, correctly vetting them, things like that. So that was one of my failures, which, again, a learning experience.
Yeah.
Learned a lot, just about myself and in business as well. So that, and then we did real estate since 2018. We've owned rentals, we've wholesaled real estate, we've flipped, and so we kind of have a good bearing on that. But with this last shift in the market, I just it's not a good time to flip right now. There's people that still do it, but with interest rates a little high, it was just something that we're like, all right, we're going to stop and just kind of focus and scale this business that we're doing now.
No, I love that. I think that's great. So how has that been? Like how were you able to pivot like that? Because for me, failure is pretty hard, which I'm sure for all. I mean, if it's hard for you, let us know in the comments. But how have you been able to pivot as well as you have?
Well, I think it's just like, why do we do the things that we do, right? What's if we ask ourselves that, like, what is it for nice cars or nice house, or is it big bank account.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think for a lot of us, it goes a lot deeper than that, right? It's for our wives that work super hard, our kids that we see, doing hard things. Like, we obviously want to give them more opportunity than we ever had maybe when we were younger.
Yeah.
But that's one of my whys is I've got a family to provide for, right? I think as like a head of household or just like a guy in general,
Yeah.
we just, we have that natural like, hey, we got to provide for our families.
Right.
And so that was a big part of it. Before, what started the whole entrepreneurial thing was I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse, and I have friends that think I'm crazy for not going back to nursing when things got hard or markets shifted or businesses failed. And sometimes I think that too, at times.
Like, what did I do?
One thing that the entrepreneurial journey has given me is the ability to be the owner of my time, right? And be able to have full ownership. There's no one telling me what holidays I can't spend with my family.
Right.
There's no one to tell me, hey, I'm sorry, you can't have that weekend, And so that was a big part of it, I think, is being able to dictate our schedules, even when it gets hard as far as financially.
Have that freedom.
Right. That freedom is more valuable to me, I guess, than a constant paycheck.
100%. No, and I felt very much the same way. That was one of the things that I got really bogged down by, mental health wise, at a 9-to-5 job. Well, nursing is hardly a 9-to-5 job. You talk about the stress level is through the roof. But that was one of the things for me. Is like I want to see more of my kids, and I want to be able to do birthdays and holidays and all that other stuff. So, no, I'm with you there. One of my favorite things is networking. That's one of I have found that has been a huge life changer for me, as far as being able to get out and meet people, building. Have you ever heard your net worth is your network?
Right.
It's like it's about who you know, and people say that kind of sometimes as like an excuse to not do anything. Like, oh, it's all about who you know, and you're just lucky. It's like, no, those don't. Yes, it is about who you know, but you got to go out and get to know people.
Absolutely.
And cultivate those relationships. How have you seen networking, or more rather, working with other people? How have you seen that give you success in all of what you've done?
Yeah. So one thing that I live by and learned through networking is collaboration over competition. And so just in my industry, if you do a Google search for your area, there's going to be at least, I would say, 5 to 10 companies that say they do junk removal.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say, oh, this industry is saturated, there's, blah, 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 blah. And one way to turn that around is to get to know the guys that are doing business, right? And so that's what I've done. I've gone to lunch with my competition.
I love that.
And what's funny is when they're out of town, they'll call me and they'll just be like, hey, I'm going to be out of town for these days. Can I pass you anything? I want people to continue calling my phone, and then give them solutions still. And so they would pass me business, and that's what we do. So you'll notice that it's a mindset shift, right? People that are like, I don't want to share these trade secrets. I don't want to, they just have this crap mindset.
100%.
And it's all the people at the bottom. Like everybody at the top, especially the big guys in every industry, they're collaborating at the top. And so networking is key, is building those relationships. A lot of times we say we want to do business with people that we like.
Yeah.
And that's true. I obviously I want to do business with people I like, but I also want to do business with people that are doing business. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and so,
that's interesting.
People that say they do business but they're not doing business, once you go through that vetting process, it's like, you're not really doing business, so I don't know if I want to continue. There's a reason why you're not doing business.
Right, yeah.
Right? So I want to do business with people that I like, but I also want to do business with people that are actually doing business.
Yeah.
And so those are the people that I want to know and get to know,
Yeah,
and build
for sure.
relationships with. So.
No, and I think that that's super important too, to find real teachers, like real mentors. It's like it's great to talk, and it's great to dream and everything like that. It's something that I do all the time.
Me too.
But like when you gotta put the rubber to the road, right? And in order to do that, you need to have people that are actually doing what you are trying to accomplish. And so I think that's huge. And I really love what you said too about those that are at the top. They don't work alone.
No.
Or what is it? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, or I was watching something that was like, I think it was Mr. Beast that was talking about, how it's kind of lonely at the top, and there's something about that I don't like, that just rubs me the wrong way. Nothing against him, but it's just like, it doesn't have to be lonely at the top.
Right.
But bring other people with you, turn back around and help somebody else, kind of, climb up that mountain. So one of the things that we talk about bridging divides, the bridge strategy, right? We talk about the 5 building blocks of success. There's blueprint, which is all about the mindset. Where do you want to go? What do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to accomplish it? And how are you going to accomplish it, right? Then there's lay the first brick, which is number 2. All about mindset, all about taking that first step. You can't wait for somebody else to give you the other half of your bridge. You got to start building your half, and then go out and look for the next one, right? Next one is lean in. Lean into who you are, lean into your personal strengths, and really find what makes you uniquely successful where others might not be. Number 4 is complete their bridge. Instead of looking for other people to complete yours, who is someone where you can give them what they need, complete their bridge. And then 5 is reinforce and review. It's all about looking back, going, okay, what did we do? What are the mistakes that we made? Where can we improve? Where can we reinforce? And where can we, repeat the good things? So just kind of going into that a little bit, how have you seen taking initiative as part of what has made you successful? Because you talked about a lot of different things that you've done.
Yeah.
So how has that principle?
So I think it's been a strength and maybe at times a weakness. My wife always tells me that my risk tolerance is pretty high, and so that sometimes I'll run into things and be full in, and then she'll want me to like hit the brakes a little bit. But that's one thing that, looking back, so I've had a few ideas just like come across, and I kind of started with it, and then I just like let it fall out the wayside. Yeah. So back in, I want to say 2008, I want to say 2009 maybe. I had this idea, and I just didn't know how to put it together, and I called it Runners. And what it was is I wanted to get all of the major grocery stores onto one platform, and then hire people to go do shopping for like elderly people.
And now we've got,
and I didn't know how to put it together,
Yeah.
But I like explored, like, man, this would be a really good, like there was a couple like elderly people that we were already doing that for when I was in college, and I was just like, how do I make this mainstream? How do I get to like make an app? People go on there, click what they want, then someone
go do it.
Go to the store, shop for them, bring it, deliver this groceries. What a great idea!
Man, if only there was.
And then it's like, I think it's like a $1 billion like industry now.
Oh yeah,
with,
DoorDash and like.
And so it's just like
Uber Eats. I mean, everybody's jumping on that. Sure.
I have them written down in journals too, right?
That's
like
crazy.
And there's a couple more ideas, and so after looking back and seeing, man, I have these really great ideas, and I just didn't have enough courage to go after them. Like from that point on, I was just like, you know what, if there's something, I'm going to go after it, and if I fail, I fail, and I learn, but if I succeed, then we have something to grow.
Yeah.
And so,
because that obviously was a great idea. You can see how
right.
successful that is right now.
Right. And so, but that brings in, I wasn't ready yet, But there was, I didn't have the relationships, I didn't have the knowledge, and that's looking back. I'm like, okay, if you have a good idea, write it down, and then if you don't know how to execute it, then find a relationship, go ask questions, or find somebody that. This brings me back to everyone has their own superpowers. I always like to say that because they can relate to like superheroes, and everyone's different, and that's why you have like the Justice League and all these groups, right? Because they all bring something to the table to be able to conquer evil, or in our case, maybe build a business or scale a business. And so building those relationships, knowing that you can't do everything yourself, and knowing that you're not, it's okay to not be the smartest guy in the room. But
never been my problem.
Me neither, right? But to surround yourself with people that are better than you, smarter than you, and it's okay, because everyone has their own superpower.
Yeah. And
so together you're stronger, right?
And it's not to say that it's like if someone's smarter or more successful or whatever, not to say that they're worth more as like a human being, but they're just further along the road than you are.
Right.
And that's a good place to be, to find people that are already where you want to go.
Right.
So that you can say, well, how did you do it?
Absolutely. And I love what you're doing, because a lot of times the people that are stuck, they just need to know what the person 5 steps ahead of them are doing.
Oh my gosh, like how valuable is it to be like, no, just keep going.
Right.
Like what you're doing,
you're right there.
You're right there. Trust me, you're right there. That's been hard. That's been something that's been hard for me. Is being like is it like am I going in the right direction? Like like please give me a sign. But it's like a lot of times it's like that sign, if you will, is the people around you that can give you that. That's one of the reasons why we started Bridging Divides. Which thank you, by the way. You gave me the compliment. I appreciate that. But like that's one of the reasons why I started this, is because I was gaining so much value from these conversations, which it's like you wouldn't think like talk to a junk removal guy and you'll get tips on how to succeed and everything. But that's just because it's like you don't know until you get to know somebody what their history has been. Right. And so there's so much value from talking to people that aren't in your industry to be able to give you those lessons, and it might spark an idea of, oh, well, maybe this is how I can do this that's different from the rest of the people that are doing what I'm doing. So it's like, if I'm gaining value from this, I know that if I just turn the camera on, that like other people would get value from it. So,
and so it's like every journey is different too. Everyone takes different turns, and and reacts, or finds different ways to accomplish or solve a problem.
Yeah.
And so just 5 steps ahead. Sometimes we feel like we have to look to somebody that has done it all in order to learn from them, but really, it's a lot of times it's just the person that's a few steps ahead.
Yeah.
To get you to that next level.
No, I love that. And then it's like find somebody else that's a few steps ahead again, and then just kind of keep going from there. So also touching on, and I love that you talked about superheroes. I'm a huge superhero nerd. Like I love the lessons that we can draw from it. Right. Not to mention that explosions and fights, and it's cool. Come on, but being able to look at ourselves through a strength lens versus a weakness lens, I think is really, really important.
Absolutely.
So being able to look at kind of who we are, from a standpoint of like, this is what makes me great. Yes, I got blind spots, I got weaknesses, things that I need to develop and work on, but there are things that make every single one of us unique. and uniquely successful, something that we bring to the table, right?
Right.
So what have been some of your unique strengths or superpowers that have made you uniquely successful where maybe other people haven't been?
I think for me, so like just talking to people. I have the ability, and I've been told this, so it's not just like me, like is that I can be able to like build relationship and trust, and just kind of have a personality that is easy to trust, genuine, just easy to talk to. I love, like, a lot of people, I know some kids that just graduated high school. They're like serving missions and stuff for their church, and they're like just learning how to talk to people on the phone.
Yeah.
A parent just told me that this was their son's challenge, was how to effectively leave a voicemail. Like things that we don't even think about,
Yeah.
right? Because everyone's texting, everyone's messaging, and so just the ability to talk to people, to make them feel included, make them feel important. Just kind of a personality that kind of, to be drawn to, I guess.
No, 100%.
I promise to not toot my own horn or anything, but
Well, no, toot away, man.
it's
And
just-
honestly, I think that's an invaluable skill.
Right.
I mean, I've talked about my mission before. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to Uruguay, which learning another language and being kind of dropped off in the middle of South America and just be like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
Is there's a lot of strength building opportunities, let's say, but that being able to hone that skill of talking to everybody, finding out who they are, like what drives them, what motivates them, allows you to be able to better build a relationship and to be able to better help someone with whatever it is that they're going through. Where did, because you went to Israel, right?
Yeah, I served in the Philippines.
The Philippines. There we go. That's
And
where I
that
really
was that was wonderful. It taught me. I mean, it kind of paved. It did pave the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a foreign country, just like you,
That's
learning how to learn a
Did
language.
you Tagalog?
Yep.
So,
Spoke Tagalog.
ang pangalan ko ay Mitch.
Yeah, there you go. My name is Mitch.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
My brother went to the Philippines. So
Okay.
he told me to say.
Yeah. So and it's it's invaluable things that we learn. But just simply being able to talk to people, make them feel included, make them feel loved.
Yeah.
Just certain things that I don't know. I guess that's one superpower that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Is being able to talk to people.
And that's a perfect segue into the next building block that we talk about in the bridge strategy, which is completing their bridge. That one's all about, like I said, again, being able to see another person and say, okay, what is it that you need, and how can I bring the other half of your bridge, to you, kind of a thing. And building relationships is all about that, right?
Absolutely.
And authenticity, making sure that they know that you're genuine in you trying to help them, as opposed to how can I get what I want.
Yeah.
How have you seen that skill of giving other people what they need versus just trying to get what you need?
Yeah.
How have you seen that help you with business, life?
That's an awesome question. So I think it's one of those things where you have to experience it, right? You have to. I read about it in books, like bring value, bring value to people, it'll be returned tenfold. And I remember, because at one point, just learning how to do business, you're many times you can be very selfish, right? Like, what do I need to do, for my business, my marketing, my this, and it was only then when you kind of gave your time, maybe it was to a charity of their liking, or just giving. A lot of times it's your attention, your time. It doesn't even you don't even have to spend money,
Right.
but just giving them part of your day, is when things are returned to you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you don't even have to ask. It just It's that kindness is reciprocated, and I think it goes even deeper than that though. Is being, kind of getting away from the business, but just being able to see people for who they are and what they're worth, right? And I'm going to say it, but when you look at other people through the lens of your Savior, Jesus Christ, right? It goes deeper. There's a it's not just I'm going to give my time for their business. It's like you go further. It's like who they are. Oh, they're doing this because they have a family to support. You know their spouse. You know their children. Like it just goes. There's more layers to everything that we do.
Yeah.
And so when it's that switch of mindset of seeing people how their loving Heavenly Father or their Savior would see them, and being able to add value to their life, not just temporally, but in an eternal perspective.
I love that you went there in your comments, because that's a lot of what motivates me. Is that I noticed that when I was just focusing on this surface level money transaction kind of relationship, ultimately I just did not feel fulfilled by what I was doing.
Yeah.
But when it goes deeper, when you can see another person as your brother or sister, right? And regardless of whether or not you believe in God or Jesus, which we do, obviously, we're talking about right now, that being able to see that person for truly who they are, for that potential that they have, their intrinsic value, I think that is where we avoid wars. That's where you avoid Ponzi schemes and all this other people taking advantage of the system to be able to just get what they want.
Yeah.
That stops, and from there, you gain so much more fulfillment from what it is that you're doing when you can see people for who they truly are.
Absolutely.
So I love, again, like I said, I love that is where you went, because that's ultimately something that I had to change.
Yeah. I think we hit a certain point where, like we all do, we all feel that not being fulfilled, and it's just like, well, why? Like I'm doing things right. I think I am, and it's just that we just got to remember, it's like we really are just stewards over things that were given from the big man.
Yeah.
And so it's like once you realize that, you then start to give more of your time, give more of your talents, give more of your resources that you have to be able to serve people, because that's really what really makes you fulfilled.
Beautiful. Oh, no, you couldn't have said it better. So as we're kind of running down to the end of our time here, so kind of as we get to the end here, one of our favorite segments is Positivity Prize Fighter. Is what I talk about. The ability to just get back up when life punches you in the face because you believe that it's going to work, right? So Positivity Prize Fighter is that person that can just, they can just keep rolling with the punches. Because positivity ain't for sissies.
One, I knew I needed to push forward, but then shortly after, just realizing on the bigger picture, right? Here we have failures. You feel like crap. You feel you're at your all-time low.
Yeah.
But what does it mean in the eternal perspective? Once I leave this life, is my Father in heaven going, oh, hey man, that third block, or hey, that bad investment. He's not going to ask me those questions.
Yeah.
And realizing, okay, what is really the eternal importance? Why am I here? He's going to ask me, how did you treat your wife? Did you love her unconditionally? He's going to ask me about my relationship with each of my children. Hey, what kind of relationship did you have? Did you treat people, others that I gave you the opportunity to be in their life? Did you treat them with the love that was expected? Those are the things I think personally, he's going to ask us. He's not going to ask me about my business decisions. Even though, obviously we want to conduct ourselves, the best we can with every with everything, right? And once I realized in the eternal perspective of things, those things, yes, they affect you, they'll affect your life right now, but they're going to fall way down on the list of the things that you're going to be asked and be accountable for.
Yeah.
And so those were, just realizing that in the whole scheme of things, that gave me the ability to be like, okay, hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's a failure, but it's a learning process. And that is what really shapes who we are, who we're supposed to be here, you know, on earth in this life. And now I ask myself a couple questions when I do fail. What am I to learn, and who am I to become? Because every struggle to me is sacred, and so those things has helped me ask hard questions, and then say, okay, if this is what we're supposed to learn, then this is who I need to become. Because really, the person that you want to be 6 months ago, Mitch, shouldn't be the person that you want to be now, right? Because if we're truly progressing each day, then it's got to be someone better, right?
Yeah.
And so, and there's other experiences where a failure has to do with that, right?
Yeah.
But those two are like the big ones that where I've had to double down and be like, hey, stay positive, keep moving forward, keep growing from this.
No, I love that. Oh my gosh, like being able to, you talk about that eternal perspective, right? Like being able to see beyond where you are right now, being able to see yourself as more than what you are in this moment is so valuable.
Right.
You know, and I also believe that we're going to be held accountable at the end of the day, at the end of our lives for the efforts that we put in. Not how much money we made, not how all this other stuff, which is great. I have those goals and I want to be multimillionaire and everything. Like that's a good thing, right? Because I've got more to give. I can research, right?
Yeah.
That's great. But at the end of the day, that is not the end all be all. Money's not the mission.
Right.
You need money for the mission,
Absolutely.
but it's not the mission. The mission is becoming, helping other people, serving, bringing value, all these other things that deep down, those are the things that I feel I will be held accountable for at the end of my life. So those are the things that I need to be focusing on. All that other stuff, the money and all that other stuff, that will come as I focus on those true, deep, kind of base principles.
And all that temple stuff will come when we try to be our best self, the best version of ourselves.
100%. I love that. No, Matt, thank you so much for being on. You know, it's been so fun. I know. I mean, we could talk for so
much hours.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on. Again. But if you guys have gotten value from this, please leave a like and subscribe and share and all that good stuff that I'm horrible at asking for. But just to reiterate what Matt is talking about is that see yourself further down the line from where you are, right now. Realize that the stuff that you're going through right now, that's the refiner's fire. That's burning away all that crap that is keeping you from being who you really want to be. And even though that it is hard to go through right now, if you're able to see yourself after you've gotten through all of that right now, I know that you'll be able to get through it. I know that you can do it. I love you guys. We'll see you on the next one.